everyone, it's Happymailqueen. Today I wanted to do a tutorial on my project that I created today. I made this pretty pizza box using some foiled cardstock as well as 110-pound cardstock for the bottom part right here. And I basically wanted to create this because I needed a box to accommodate this ceramic plate that I'm going to be gifting. So I wanted to be able to provide some protection, so I'm probably going to fill this up with some shreds or bubble wrap or something. But it also has room for, maybe a treat. You could even put like ribbon and bling in there, whatever you want to load inside so that you can gift it to your pal. And remember that card front that I created? I decided not to put it on a card, but instead to decorate to this pizza box. And I love the way it came out, so we're going to go ahead and make one of these. So you want to pick a couple of pieces of cardstock. Like I said, I wanted to use foil cardstock. This is one that I got from Amazon, and I love having a bunch of these. It comes in a 25 pack. I will leave the link down below. And this is 110-pound cardstock. Feels actually like only about 100-pound cardstock. And this is from Michael's. It came in a pack. And so what you want to do first is, it depends on what size you want to create for your pizza box. Now my box measures 6 by 6 with a depth of 1 1/4 inch. I am going to be making this my lid, and this is for the bottom. And then you can we'll decorate it afterwards. So first you want to cut your paper. So let's go ahead and do that. So since this is an 8.5 by 11, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 8.5 to make a perfect square. So you're going to have an 8.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock, and you're going to do the same thing with this one, except for, because this is the bottom part, you are going to make this just a sliver smaller. And so instead of 8.5, you are just going to cut this down to 8, and let's see, 4, 8 and 7/16, which is the line right before the 8.5. Okay, so you want to cut this down, turn your paper over, and then cut again. 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just want to make sure. 8 and 7/16, meaning you're going to cut just a sliver off this. Okay, you see that? Just a sliver, because that is going to be your bottom. That way your lid will be just a tad bigger and will fit perfectly. I'm going to score at 1 1/4 on each side. So 1 1/4. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, you can definitely use your trimmer. And let me show you how you would do that. You would basically take your trimmer and you are just gonna, so again, you're gonna line it up at the 1 1/4 inch, and then take your bone folder and score a couple of times. And you're gonna do this on all the sides. Just remember, you're not cutting. If you do have a scoring tool you can, you know, obviously change your blade to the scoring tool. So once you're done scoring all sides, then you're going to take your scissors and we're going to cut slits to create our flaps, and you're just going to cutting a slit just up to that first score line, and then once the flaps are created, you can just cut a tiny sliver off the flap so that it folds and glues nice and even. And I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to do that on the opposite side as well, so you have slits on opposite sides for your flaps. And then you're going to go ahead and fold your flaps. We're going to also glue the little squares that we created on the edge, and I'm just lining it up here before I put my glue. And I'm using hot glue, and this is a high temp glue, so it gives me a lot of time to, you know, actually adhere that down and making sure that it is lined up and even at the edges. And just use your bone folder to make sure that glue is nice and pressed it down so that it covers evenly and there's no bulkiness also. And that creates the bottom part, and you're going to repeat that with the top, basically folding and gluing once again. Now with the top, you are going to cut just one side. You're going to cut off the little squares, and then you're going to keep one, you know, side with the flaps, because that's going to create the box. And then I'll show you in a little bit the opposite side where you create that nice long flap. That is the part that's going to connect to the other box, because remember, we're creating a pizza box, so they do have to be connected together. So here I'm just making sure that that's nice and even, and you'll see here I'm just going to size the lid. I'm going to put it on top and making sure that it fits, and it does. And so that back flap that I created there, as you can see, we're going to put glue on it, so it's that long flap. And remember, we cut off the little squares at the ends, sorry. And sorry, I'm kind of a bit off frame here. Anyway, go ahead and just make sure you work pretty quickly, because it is a pretty you know, large area to glue, and your glue will dry pretty quickly, so I had to add a little bit more glue and just press it all down. And then we get to decorate. So this XO is a felt piece that I got from let's see, Target, from the dollar spot. I showed it there. And then the die cut, the little envelope with the heart, that is from Michael's. And then I'm cutting a little bit of glittery tulle, because that XO felt piece didn't have any glitter on it, so I just laid some glitter tulle, just cut it to size. And then this is a Tim Holtz die cut here, using the scribbles and splatters or splat. And then the arrow is also, I believe, from, that was gifted to me, but I believe that is also from Target a year or two ago. I think that was gifted by one of my besties. And I'm just trying to figure out where to put things, where I'm going to tuck those hearts before I actually glue everything down. And once I have everything where I want it, then I remove it and start gluing one layer at a time. So here I'm just putting more glue to the back of that XO and just centering that, pressing that down and pressing inside the lid too, or using my bone folder to press it down just to make sure that it really is on there. And then I add this tool, and I don't really want to put a whole bunch of glue on that tool, of course, so I put the glue on the die cut and then just press that down, and that will kind of keep the tool in place. And I love those die cuts. I think those were from last year's Valentine's die cuts from Michael's, and I never got to really use them very much because they're pretty big, and it's kind of hard to use them on cards and little projects or embellishments that you make. So I'm glad I finally got to use it this year. And again, I like to use my bone folder to just press everything down, making sure that it's completely adhered and they're not going to fall off. And just putting a little bit more glue on that heart die cut. And I don't do too much on this particular box. I am going to add that arrow still, and I decided to just keep the twine just in the middle, so I tied it in the back, and then I'm going to end up cutting off the excess. And I wanted to keep the twine in the middle there because I wanted to hang some charms off it. I thought that would be just a cute decoration. And I'm just applying hot glue to that arrow, making sure that I put enough glue on there. It is a chipboard arrow. And then, what am I doing here? Oh, I decided I wanted to put a bow, so I'm just trying to figure out where to stick that bow. Just trying different places, and decided that above the arrow would be pretty. So that's what I ended up doing. Once I figured out that's where I wanted to place it. So I'm just pressing that down just to make sure that that's nice and adhered. And then here to the left there, the red button, that is from Hobby Lobby. And then I'm just adding a few charms, just using my tool here to close the jump rings. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys like my project. Bye for now.